What's up, YouTube? So today on First Take, in this segment, Stephen A is going to have his top 5 Super Bowl players. This week is a Super Bowl week. This weekend is a Super Bowl. So they're having a lot of festivities and having a lot of fun this week because it's the last football game of the year, the Super Bowl. So they're just having a little bit of fun. So Stephen A is going to name off his top 5 Super Bowl players. So let's see who he picks.
You see the list, but before I get to the list, I see some people standing around here. I gotta get security. I want this man out of my sight right here. Get him out of here. He's got no place.
I don't know. That man has a Dallas Cowboy jersey on. Could one of the Dallas Cowboys be up there in the top 5? I mean, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin did go to the Super Bowl, but 3 times out of 4, like, I don't know, 92, 93, and then like 96 or something like that. Somewhere around there. But let's keep going.
Sit here. Get rid of him. Okay, let's go to it. Stevens A-list, all-time Super Bowl players. We go to number 5 on the list. The one and only Doug Williams. Why? Here it is.
Okay, Doug Williams, I can see that. He went to the Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. Let's see what Stephen A has to say to justify that.
Why? The first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl championship. He was a bad brother. 35 points in the second quarter, 4 touchdown passes. Did it on a hyper-extended knee. And oh, by the way, excuse me, black folks can't play quarterback. You better ask somebody. Ask him. Let's go to number 4 on.
Okay, Doug Williams, I can run with them. I can run with that. I don't want to bring race into it. I just want to go with directly what type of play the player did in the Super Bowl. And Doug Williams did do a good job. I can run with that. I was looking maybe let's just keep going. Let's keep going.
The list. Terry Bradshaw for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why? 9 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, 4 Super Bowl rings, undefeated in Super Bowl competition. I don't need to say anything else. It wasn't just about the steel curtain. It wasn't just about Lynn Swann and John Stallworth and Franco Harris. There was a quarterback in the house. His name was Terry Bradshaw. Let's go to number.
Terry Bradshaw, I can't argue with Terry Bradshaw. So Terry Bradshaw has the second most Super Bowl wins, would be 4. Mr. Tom Brady has 5. Actually, Terry Bradshaw is tied with Joe Montana with the San Francisco 49ers, who has 4, who is undefeated 4-0 in the Super Bowl. But Terry Bradshaw, as Stephen A said, had the steel curtain, crazy defense, the Lynn Swann catch, their immaculate, I think, reception. A couple of things. So I can agree with Terry Bradshaw being up there. I have no problem with that. Let's see. It looks like Jerry Rice is up there next. And let's see what he has to say about that with the best wide receiver of all time. Let's keep going with it.
3 on the list. Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice. The greatest receiver in Super Bowl history. 33 receptions, 589 yards, 8 touchdowns, had a game, 215 receiving yards, put on a show. He's a bad man. Okay, number 2 on the list.
Oh, and Mr. Jerry Rice, like we just talked about. So Jerry Rice is not only the best receiver in the Super Bowl, but the best wide receiver in the game overall. The regular season, the Super Bowl, whatever you want to cut, wherever you want to go with it. And I was depressed for a while and saddened when in 1995 they played the San Diego Chargers and just beat them up. I mean, the Chargers just got beat up almost from the get-go. I think the opening play was like a 90-yard pass and catch from Steve Young to Jerry Rice, and it was just over from the beginning. Junior Seau and company would just fell apart. I was depressed for a while, but I got over it because I can't be that sad to get beat by the San Francisco 49ers, one of the best teams of all time, the greatest dynasties, and to have be shut down by the greatest wide receiver of all time. So I can deal with that. Who's next?
I switched it. Guess what? It's Joe Montana. Number 2. Excuse me. The Super Bowl rings, an undefeated record in the Super Bowl. Somebody was throwing Jerry Rice those passes. Somebody threw it to John Taylor for to win 1 Super Bowl against Cincinnati. Somebody noticed that the comedian, God rest his soul, John Candy, was in the stands, and during the huddle, he was joking around because he's Joe Cool. That's why Joe Montana set the standard. We'll go to number 1 on the
Then Joe Montana, the comeback kid, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever of all time. Until Mr. Tom Brady came up, who's right there with him. But Joe Montana, the dynastic quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, he's 4-0 in the Super Bowl. I mean, what teams did he beat up? I can't even tell you how many teams he beat up in the 80s. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. In the 90s. That's why Joe Montana goes down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, if not the GOAT. If not the GOAT, the comeback kid. I mean, it's no surprise that he can be considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. We're on one of the best teams of all time because he had Jerry Rice on his team, among other Hall of Famers. So Joe Montana, I have no problem with. Who's next? I'm pretty sure you can guess.
Somebody eclipsed the standard. It's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to explain. 5 Super Bowl championships, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, 8 Super Bowl appearances. Look, I'm a native New Yorker. I'll be damned if I'm trying to give any love to somebody from Boston, Foxborough, or any place up north, even past Connecticut, Molly. But it doesn't matter because facts are facts. Tom Brady, say what you want. The brother's special. So that is my list. Stevens A.
So I could run with Stephen A. Smith's list. I can definitely run with that. There are a couple other honorable mentions that I probably would put on there or put an asterisk right next to them. I might go with Jim Kelly because he went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. He lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, but you got to give credit because if you get to the big show during the Montana era, during the Troy Aikman era, you got to get some type of credit. And the next an honorable mention, I would probably go with the Troy Aikman, with Emmitt Smith, with Michael Irvin, because the Dallas Cowboys were very bad in the early 90s. I mean, I think they won 3 Super Bowls out of 4. I mean, those guys were dynastic. And who else would I throw up on there? I think that pretty much rounds it out. Oh, you know what? Who else I throw on there? I'll probably throw on there Kurt Warner. Maybe Marshall Faulk, because at one point they were the greatest show on turf in the early 2000s. I mean, they were tearing it up with Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner. I mean, all those boys. I mean, they're speedsters on the turf. That was back when the Rams were in St. Louis. But anyways, I got it round out. I'm pretty happy with Stephen A. Smith's list. Let's see what else he has to say.
List, all-time Super Bowl performance. I don't think this can be refuted. I'm out, y'all.
Okay. What do you have to say about that, Max?
This is what I have to say. Doug Williams does not belong on number 5. Mm-hmm. Why, as Stephen A. would say? How does this man, you have to answer for yourself, have the number 1 Super Bowl performer of all time as Tom Brady, right? Right, okay, it's Brady or Montana. I agree. I think Brady's eclipsed him at this point, even though Montana was 4-0 in Super Bowls. Okay, Brady's got 3 losses so far in Super Bowls. 2 of them were to who? What quarterback was on the other side of the field?
Eli Manning. Everybody knows that Eli Manning is a Tom Brady killer, which that has to put him somewhere on some type of list when you just shut down Brady with amazing. Those games were amazing. Like I said, Eli Manning is a Tom Brady killer. But let's see what else Max has to say.
Timeout.
New York Football Giants.
How many Super Bowl MVPs does Doug Williams have? How many Super Bowl MVPs does Eli Manning have? That would be 2, and they both came against your number 1 guy.
I'd like to respond to what you said. Listen to this. All joking aside, you, of all people, will really, really appreciate what I'm about to say because you can attach Muhammad Ali to it. It's not just about your greatness because obviously, for example, in boxing, you know that Sugar Ray Robinson was the man as opposed to Muhammad Ali. But one of the reasons you don't mind when people call Muhammad Ali the GOAT is because you a historian, particularly in the sport of boxing, who appreciates some of the trials and tribulations that guys have had to overcome, and you've articulated that point on many occasions. That's what Muhammad Ali had to go through. Well, guess what? The black quarterback, the plight of the black quarterback, particularly as late as the 80s, before the Donovan McNabbs, before the Warren Moons, before the Randall Cunninghams, etc. There was perceptions out there that a black man could not be a quarterback. The scrutiny that was placed upon their shoulders, the pressure that was applicable because of it. Doug Williams had to go out there and overcome all of that. Eli Manning, nor any white quarterback in NFL history, has never had to endure the level of scrutiny that Doug Williams
You're right
had to
about that. If you were talking
Now, you know, I can't be mad at either of them. I agree with what Max is saying, and I agree with what Stephen A. Smith is saying. So you got me neutral right there.
where it came from.
If you
That's
were
where it came
talking
from.
about Super Bowl significance, then I would agree to you. But Doug Williams in that Super Bowl largely just said, "Here, John Riggins, take that. Hey, could you hold that for me for a minute?"
He did.
So Super Bowl performance, Eli Manning, two of the biggest, most impossible throws in the history of football to win Super Bowl.
You know, I hate to agree with Max there, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Eli Manning came through. I don't know how he did it. Even just making the playoffs and going through wild cards, I don't know how he did it. Eli Manning is a Tom Brady killer. I'll give it to him. But, you know, Tom Brady is still up there, you know, just with everything he's done. Obviously, 9 Super Bowls. He's 5-3. You know, everything that goes along with that. But Tom Brady's Achilles heel, or whatever you want to call it, is definitely Eli Manning. Definitely.
Max against Tom
Max
Brady.
is not wrong. Max is not wrong. The word significance is appropriate. But what I'm saying to you is when you take into account significance,
Yes.
and then you look at the performance,
Then I